Good evening, Game Methuselah here. My last video was a bit of a lightning rod. I commented about the fact that I felt that most of role-playing games should be really dangerous, and that got a lot of mixed opinions. Some agreed, many disagreed. So I wanted to sort of jump back into this argument again and present some different points of view that I have on basically the difficulty of your games. I'm going to preface this a little bit to basically tell you that I'm kind of copying out on what I'm going to say in case everybody hates me, and say that, you know what, there is no wrong way to run your role-playing campaign. Your style and game type, the enjoyment level you get from the game, really should be what you concentrate on. You should run the games that you and the players you play for enjoy. So saying that, I'm going to break games down into what I believe are the three main categories. Now, there may be subcategories beyond that, and that can all be discussed in subreddits and on Twitter, but the basic situations are as follows. First, there's what I call the friendly game. The friendly game is normally you introducing any sort of role-playing game to someone who may never have gamed before. This would include someone like my wife, who had not gamed, but became enamored of Matt Colville after a bunch of his videos and decided she wanted to get involved. The friendly game is easy. Chances of mortality are very slim, if basically impossible. It's super easy to play, but it sounds really sinister. You concentrate on the verbiage and the backstory and the color and all the evil-sounding things that occur in the game that may not really apply necessarily to the characters, but it sounds really good. You're going to give out lots of treasure. You're going to give out magical items because that's really the currency of role-playing games. You're going to give them good NPCs that are going to go along with them in case they get into trouble. They're going to have really heroic-sounding battles, and they're going to feel like they ended up saving the day, even though their game really wasn't that challenging. There's a lot of people who play that all the time. It's actually fun. It's fun to sort of feel like the hero. If you got people who like telling the story and are good at it, it's good. It's often the first game I tend to run, especially for, like I said, people who have never played before. Second type of game is what I call the social game. This would encompass more than likely the largest role-playing community. It's all the living games, Living Forgotten Realms, Living Greyhawk, Adventure Guild, most of the modules, I would believe, and then a lot of the homebrew stuff that people run up. The games tend to be easy to moderate in play. There's a lot of color. They really sort of detail out their story, and there's lots of talk about. So there's lots of non-combat, interesting things going on within the game. A lot of it sounds really, really dangerous, but in reality, it's kind of medium danger. Most of the characters who play pretty smart should have no difficulty in getting through. Most of the living games felt that way. Some of them were a bit more challenging in the Living Greyhawk and Living Forgotten Realms. I haven't played enough of Adventure Guild yet to see any challenging games, but they might be there. But mortality is very low. The chance of you losing a character in the game is slim. The ability to get the character back is fairly easy. The treasure tends to stay pretty much at the level of the rulebook. So in current 5th edition D&D, the treasure is pretty low. So you're going to be playing a while before you see any sort of epic type of magic. The third, and how I play type of game, is what I call hardcore. Hardcore are the games, like I said, that I run. They're the games Matt Colville runs, Don Hawthorne runs, Kevin McCormick runs. They're some of the games that now I'm seeing other people who have played with us run. Jordy runs hardcore. Mark and Craig are now starting to run hardcore games too. These are the games that I really enjoy playing. The games are hard. Mortality is high. It's very easy to die, and most likely a lot of characters are going to do so. Less, of course, when they get to higher level because you have access to resurrects and things like that. But it is not uncommon to see a very large mortality rate at these type of games. The treasure is really good. The magical items are usually incredible. This is a part of the game that, if you watched Matt's streaming on his group when he played, he had given out some very powerful magic items very early, because Matt, like myself, runs a very hardcore game. Death can come at any moment. You could be asleep in your bed and suddenly a specter comes through the wall. But the world is very real. It is a story that pivots on every action of the player characters. It is victory or death. You will either save the day and the campaign will end with a great victory for you, or you will die. And that's the type of games I tend to play. Now, I understand that puts me in the minority. These games, life is cheap and death comes quickly. But the thing about it is when you win, you know you have won these games. Now, I know this is not for everybody. Hard games often are full of all kinds of different emotions. But the hard games, the difficult games have the drama, the heroic story arcs, the better rewards and higher levels of magic, because you're going to all need that to be able to win any of these. It allows players to rise to the occasion, to be heroes, to feel like heroes, to do heroic things, to save the day, to maybe die heroically, because sometimes that happens. I feel like I should tell you a story about a character of mine. Many years ago, when we were playing the beginning of the fantasy trip, my friend Kevin McCormick ran his first series of games, and he believed in the hardcore as we did. And he ran this game, and I might change the names to protect the fact that I can't most likely remember everybody who was there. But it basically came down that I had two characters. Liam, a fighter who by some miraculous miracle in this somehow ruined holy order we're in, had been resurrected from the dead when killed by some guardians. He had found a magic sword, but it would shock him when he carried it. So he wrapped it up and carried it in his back. My other character was Guidor, powerful magic user, and we were trying to find out where these wizards had gone. They had been captured and spirited away, and all the townsfolk were in great panic and needed us, the heroes, to go rescue them. So we went out to do so. We ran in here 3 times. It was an epic underground full of horrible monsters. And finally we get to the last room. And as we burst into the room, there's a lich. Now, we're powerful and strong, but we're not that powerful and strong. The battle ensues. The lich is really nasty. The fight goes on. Many players are killed. I realize that the battle is going against us, and I had seen out of the corner of my eye some magic circle drawing power from another room. My spells are spent, so my wizard races in there to see what it is and realizes it's the 2 wizards, who the lich is draining the power out of them. I have no spells left. I am a few points away from dead, so I rip off my cloak and leap upon the magic circle and cover it up to cut off the drain of power. I'm thinking, this is great. We have a chance now. Our fighters are battling against the lich. Maybe we can win. The lich realizes what's happened, and he teleports in to finish me off. I've got nothing to do. I'm going to die. It looks like the party is going to die. But I had remembered that earlier in this campaign, I had required this magic staff. Now, I knew it was powerful. It had like a +5 benefit on it, so it's a super powerful, almost epic magic item. And I turned to the game master, Kevin, and I go, Kevin, can I final strike this staff? And he smiles and says, you sure can. So with nobody around but me and the lich and the 2 wizards he's using for strength batteries, I pull the old Gandalf and final strike my staff. A huge explosion. He gives me all these dice to roll for damage. It's massive damage. My wizard is blown to atoms. I've horribly damaged the lich, but he's still alive. The rest of the party comes in, and they start to battle. More characters go down. Finally, my last character, Liam, the mercenary fighter, realizes that he's going to die because he's getting wounded horribly. So he reaches into the backpack and pulls out the sword that had shocked him, thinking he could maybe survive at 1 or 2 rounds, and drives it into the lich. And it doesn't shock him, and he doesn't know why. And he pulls it out one more time, and he hits it again. And I'm thinking, this has to do it. But it doesn't kill the lich. And the lich grimaces and moves forward to kill Liam off. And an arrow strikes him in the heart. From Lonamith, the elven warrior with us, with the last of his strength, is able to kill the lich off. It was epic. It was incredible. We had won the day. I turned to Kevin and said, "Why does this sword not hurt me anymore?" And Kevin goes, "You are no longer Liam the warrior. You are Liam the paladin of the Holy Order of Keys." It was an incredible evening. We all ran to Denny's because, well, it was late. And we talked about this. And Don drew artwork to talk about the game. And it went on into the night and on into the night talking about this. And this has been one of our epic gaming stories for decades that we always talk about the idea of sacrifice and winning the battle at all costs and what it makes it really interesting. This is what I think you should do, and this is what I think an epic hardcore game does. Death is never the end. When you get high level, there's resurrects. We've gone into Hades in different games to pick people out from the underworld and drag them back into the world so they can fight on. It's a real emotional feel. Sometimes early you're going to lose a character and you're going to be so mad because you love that character so much and you were so involved and you love the backstory and you felt so good about it. But you know what? The next character you generate will have the animus and the fire in his belly to travel on and kill more creatures and better what that character did. And you'll end up liking that character better. You can change and run lots of different characters because if they're dying on a regular basis, you're going to have to. The stories will be epic. You will win, and when you win, you will feel that you accomplished something. Because in these games, the winning is everything. The price of losing is failure and death. Now, they're not for everybody, but I really love playing these levels of games. If you're playing any other games, talk to your friends. They might be interested in this. At least give them a chance, because these games can really give you an onlook or an insight into the kind of gaming that I've enjoyed for decades and decades. Fight me, devils, fight, for I hate peace. Game on all.